Welcome to the mix, it's Gen-XYZ, we're X to Z, we blend, dissect society. No topics out of bounds, 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Gen-XYZ. And for today's topic, we thought we should talk a little bit about health, how it was when we grew up, maybe what it turned into, things that affected us. Let's start with DJ. I feel like DJ has the biggest health relationships. I just know from your childhood and your mom being a little health nut and even, big sickness that affected your family.
Yeah, there's so much to go over here, so I'll do my best. Growing up, my mom was very healthy. When you look in our fridge, you just see jars full of almonds and things like that, a bunch of raw materials, as I call them as an engineer, but no meals. And my dad and I used to joke that there's nothing to eat in the house, just a bunch of ingredients. But, looking back on that now, I'm happy I grew up that way just because I know I was healthy to the extreme, even to today's standards. My mom would get all those health magazines and all of that. So she was eating, yogurts and things, a decade plus before that was popular. But I'll say when I was 10 years old, we went on a family trip to the San Juan Islands out here in Washington, which are absolutely beautiful. And we went to an island called Jones Island, and we ended up going there because you could feed deer by hand. So what did we do? We got a bunch of apples. We'd walk up to the deer. They'd come right up to you, and you just feed them out of your hand. Little did we know this, basically that those deer gave our whole family Lyme disease. And so we didn't realize that right away, but that kind of turned into something where we went home and some of us there's a bullseye rash that you get. It literally is a dot with a circle around it. I never saw the one on me, but point being is I think some of our family had that, and that was the kind of signal to us that let us know that's what we actually had. But we'd go to doctors, and they would feed me a ton of penicillin, like the pink kind, and I actually really liked it.
Yeah, it's a weird taste.
Well, and it had some sugar in it, which I wasn't used to, so it was kind of like candy.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up going back to the dentist, and I had cavities, and I never had a single cavity,
From penicillin.
And it was from the penicillin, and the dentist was saying, what did you do? What did you change in your diet to go from this way over to this, totally polarized. But with that being said, the doctors didn't help us at all. Lyme's really hard to do tests to figure out if you have it. So it's hit or miss. It can be seasonal, or, it comes and goes.
Did you have any other symptoms besides the rash?
Oh, yeah. Headaches and basically like you have the flu, but worse every day. And you have basically all of the symptoms because the little, as my family calls them, bugs, they look like a little corkscrew. They're sharp on both ends, like a little spring, and they spin. They tend to drill holes through your body in a straight line, so they'll go through maybe your gut lining and then through muscle or, wherever it ends up heading. And so all your infections kind of bleed between all those natural barriers. So gives you the weirdest symptoms of basically all the symptoms.
It's like your whole system is...
Yeah, you get every type of symptom you could hope to get all at once. So you have nervous system problems, headaches. I mean, it was absolutely, truly terrible. But, other than that...
How long did that go on for?
Probably about a decade.
10 years you had it?
Yeah. So I missed a lot of school. My dad missed a lot of work. He got to the point that we had live-in nurse at the house. He's over 6 feet tall. He's taller than I am, but he weighed, something like 120, 130 pounds at that height.
Wow.
So I mean, he literally looked like a cancer patient. And so when you're a kid and growing up, and I had no one to take care of me because everyone was sick. So we'd all kind of take care of ourselves. Maybe there wasn't really food in the house, even less than the almonds, because no one could go to the store. I remember looking out the door with my mom one day, and the newspaper boy delivered a newspaper to the middle of the driveway, and we both crawled to the front door and pulled the blinds back. And I still remember we looked at each other and said, well, we're never getting that, because it was too far away.
How
It was a nice summer day.
How did you get over it, though?
Well, that's a whole story that I think we should do a whole episode on. I'd love to have my dad sitting next to me, but yeah, we figured out how to get over that, and ever since,
Let's do it. Let's do it with your dad.
Yeah,
Let's have your dad on.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Because nowadays, Lyme disease is like a pretty quick thing, right? No, it still is like a very long, tedious. Okay.
Yeah, and remember the CDC still doesn't acknowledge Lyme disease as a disease yet. So that's its own category, and we could go on for hours about that. And
Why wouldn't the CDC do that? What's their agenda?
I have a lot to say on that as well.
We'll
It's a
save that for
total
the
deep
show.
dive.
We'll save that.
Put a pin
Because
in
now
it.
I'm really interested
Yes.
in this.
Put a
Well,
pin in it.
It's
Sorry, guys, we have to postpone this because it's opening a whole.
Yeah,
can of
this is going to
worms.
be, this is Pandora's box now.
It's
Man.
ticks, right?
It goes,
Yeah, deer
Deer
ticks
ticks, okay.
are
yeah.
the culprit, at least in my circumstance.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get them through other, bugs that transfer blood back into your body or things
Yeah.
like that. But I'm actually not too sure on that. I just know about the deer ticks.
Yeah.
But I think a lot more people have Lyme than they realize. It's a big problem in society, and
Man.
yeah, we need to figure out how to address that at some point, because if you like just going outside and if there are deer around, then you should be very worried. And, we've all walked through brush in the
Yeah,
woods,
mhm.
like we were talking about in the last episode.
Yeah.
So you never know. And it doesn't hit right away all the time. It can delay for a decade or two.
Man.
So it's its own beast, and it's absolutely terrible. I feel terrible for anyone that has that.
Well,
But like we said, we'll talk about that later.
Jordan, how's your relationship with health? Did you have an almond mom? I learned that.
There's my dad.
term from you.
Yes, I backstage off the pod, I taught DJ and Asja the term almond mom. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I think I've told you it. Almond mom or almond dad is basically just like an online thing that is, and also ingredient household or meal household is a thing now too. So you grew up in an ingredient household with an almond mom is what you could say. But
And
basically
you?
That's pretty cool.
it's exactly what DJ described, like literally just not having anything and everything is very like monitored and stuff. And I don't think you're really like that. My mom wasn't like that, but she just doesn't eat in general. She eats like early in the morning and then late at night, and that's kind of it. And she's a snacker. So that, I don't know.
You guys used to get mad because you said all your friends would come over and all I had is health food, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
said it sucked.
Oh my God. Yeah, my friends would
They
be like,
hated
my friends would be
at
like,
my
all your
house.
dad has is cashews. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, same thing as DJ. Like, he was like that. We never got like sugar cereal, never got pop or anything like that. But I think like, I also never had like an unhealthy relationship with food. And I think I'm grateful for that. And like, that's kind of like what I was going to ask you is like, did you end up and do you now have like an unhealthy relationship with food? Or like, are you conscious of like everything you eat?
No, I don't think I have an unhealthy relationship. I went through college eating like a college kid. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. Just whatever I could
Top ramen
afford.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
it was live off of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Cup of noodles.
now I realize that we look at all the ingredients. We've been doing some food research, so now we realize how bad each of these individual ingredients are. And I never thought I'd be that person, but I guess the way we're raised kind of comes back to us whether we like it or not in so
100%.
many ways. So we're trying to be more health conscious because, you want to feel better and I
Yeah.
want to live longer. And
And I can definitely say that my relationship with food was so German. I mean,
I've had authentic German food.
yeah, there's a lot of carbs when it comes, a lot of potatoes, a lot of meat. I used to hate veggies because, unfortunately, sorry, Mom, but the way my mother prepared vegetables was just cooked to the end, like mushy and
Bland.
just yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that
more
sucks.
I do like vegetables more on the raw end. I can eat
Yeah.
carrots and even Brussels sprouts. I used to despise Brussels sprouts for 29 years of my life till I had a good one dish at whatever some restaurant. I was like, that's how this can taste.
Yeah.
Kind of like crunchy, maybe some seasoning. So again, like my diet at home was all over the place, not really focused on health food. Water was not really served very
Oh.
often. I mean, we can drink water out the faucet, but there's a lot of just minerals in it, so it's not
What'd you drink instead?
delicious. Nothing.
Beer.
Did you have like milk or
Bex
like
Beta.
juice?
Yeah, I mean milk and juice, or just not really
That's
much
crazy.
liquids.
Yeah.
I remember I was probably 16 when we went to Trader Joe's and they had a sparkling water that was just tasted good and had the right amount of sparkles, because we do drink in Germany. We do drink carbonated water
Mhm.
quite a bit, but it's always out of a glass bottle and it bubbles out of your nose, and I thought it was disgusting. So that's when I started drinking water at 15.
That's so crazy.
Legit. And then obviously my dad, man, I mean, this is a topic I can talk about all day long. My dad literally probably drinks half a liter of Coca-Cola every day, no water, unless he maybe has to take his pills, because he had cancer and so did my mom. And I don't want to blame their diet, but I know DJ's parents are both very healthy and didn't really had any issues like that, and they're even a bit older than my parents.
Yeah.
So I draw a conclusion between the two, and a lot of sugar, I'd say. I'm sorry too.
You had a lot
just-
of sugar?
My mom, in summer, we have a lot of apple trees. So literally every other day, 3 times a week, she bakes an apple pie. And that's just her thing. So there is sugar, not much water, high carb, high meat diets,
Oh,
and
the sugar's brutal.
kind of overcooked veggies. So
Yeah.
My nemesis.
Well,
and then
him.
salads with like cream sauce and stuff.
Oh.
So
God.
yep, not the healthiest.
So how was your health though growing up?
I was super duper active. My week I would have dancing classes Mondays and Wednesdays. I had tennis on Thursdays. I had soccer on Tuesdays, Fridays, and then games on Sundays. So I would exercise all week long for like multiple hours. So I feel like that canceled each other out a little bit.
It did a lot.
I was never skinny. I was always more, stronger, like thicker thighs, and not really a belly or anything, but I can imagine if I grew up with DJ's mom, I'd probably be very fit and very skinny, like a good combination. So yeah, just lucky to have, to even the one thing out with exercise.
So Jordan, I wanted to ask you, how was your health growing up?
I like played a ton of sports and like always were doing something, and like neighborhood kids and everything. We were always moving. Him also, all growing up, said that fruits and vegetables were just like, you never had to ask how much you could eat or anything. Like it was just go for it, which I think was good, because now like when I am wanting a snack, I do still tend to like eat some blueberries or like whatever. So I think that was really good on you. But we love a treat after dinner. And I'm still like that. Like I love a treat after dinner, and he's still like that. The other day I had dinner and I drove up to Dairy Queen and got a Blizzard. So that's my thing. Like I love a nighttime treat. And
Every night or just some nights?
no, not every night, but like a little something sweet for sure.
Even if
Like,
it's just I buy the little Dove chocolate, dark chocolate. They're just in an individual wrap, and they come in a bag of like 40 of them, and I put them in my freezer. And then at night, instead of me trying to do the old Dairy Queen get a Blizzard thing, I would just grab one of those and I eat that, and that literally is it. And
No, my new thing, frozen grapes with lime juice.
okay, that's good too.
So good.
And that's really good.
Tastes like Sour Patch Kids.
That's really good for you.
But yeah, anyways, my health growing up was good. Like I was bigger too, like always have been. And yeah, but I played soccer, played a lot of sports. We're constantly playing outside, so I never really thought about it. And like being a woman, like I never really thought about it until probably like late middle schools, like probably when like body issues started to come up, you know, and I think came up for like everyone. But yeah, definitely. Like looking back at photos now, I'm like, I used to call myself fat. Like what? And I was like little and like, you know, just a little teenager. But yeah, like for sure. My mom is really, really little. And my whole mom's side of my family is really, really little, like really tiny, skinny. And I've always not like looked like that. So I think like my relationship with my body has always been bad, but like my relationship with food and exercise has always been great. But yeah. What about you?
Yeah, Greg.
I'm a walking mess.
No, growing up actually, like
We didn't have food. No, we growing up, I remember I drank a lot of milk. I felt like my mom bought a gallon of milk like every other day.
yuck.
That we ate cereal, I drank milk. And we drink pop. I haven't drank pop, an actual pop, for like 25 years. Like just gone, here, I want a pop. I think that I wish I had better food choices. Like I wish I was disciplined with that. I'll make really good food, really healthy food, but then that gets boring also. And sometimes it's fun just to go, oh, a McChicken. That sounds really good right now. Problem is, as soon as you have it, your brain goes into, oh, that sounds good also tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that I have to always constantly say, no, that's crap food. I don't want that. I'll just go and make this chicken right now, cook it up. And I do still make a lot of food for I'll send her photos sometimes, or we'll FaceTime, and I've made a really cool dinner just for me. 'Cause I do like cooking. And I do love using whole foods and good ingredients. My problem is the sweets. I'm not a potato guy at all. So it's not all the carb stuff. It's sweets.
Mm-hmm.
If someone was to go, hey, we brought a cake and
ice cream.
and
Yeah.
and there's these cute little cookies that Donna made, then Greg's eating like all of them
Mm-hmm.
until I go, damn, why did I just eat all those? So I have to really watch it a lot. But health-wise, I was a massive, like, as far as athletics go, every sport growing up. Soccer for 44 years. I mean, baseball, skiing my whole life since I was 4, both snow and water. So golf, I golf to this day, which is really actually very healthy because when I'm walking a course, I'm hitting 7.5 to 8 miles during that time. So my issue is I try not to sit and worry all the time about what I'm eating or what I'm doing. And I'm trying just to enjoy by being conscious at the same time, conscientious of what I'm eating, but still enjoying things so that it's not taboo or bad that I ate something like that.
Yeah. I try to listen to my body. Honestly, like as I've gotten older, like my body will be like, you need broccoli like right now. And I'll just listen to it.
Oh, I
and
do that
it's
too.
like, I think that has helped me because I definitely like limit myself because obviously like I could eat chips and eat junk, you know, like anyone could. But like I always try and get like fruits and vegetables every day. And I've noticed with my body, because I think that's a big thing too, is learning about your body and learning about like what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Like, you know, my boyfriend, he was vegetarian and he was fine. Like, I need protein for me personally. Like, and I know that I need a higher protein diet than I do anything else. And that's like when I feel my best. So it's just like learning about like you and learning about your body. And yeah, like I don't really like dairy. Yeah.
Except a blizzard.
Yeah, but I don't really care for cheese or milk or anything like that.
Does
Yeah.
anyone feel that cooking and food in general is just, to me personally, it's just so much to worry about.
Yeah.
What am I going to cook for lunch? What am I going to eat for breakfast or dinner? I enjoy cooking these days, but at the same time, I wish there was an easier solution to getting the nutrition that you need and being healthy because, again, from my upbringing, my childhood, I remember my mom, first of all, we never really bought fruits because she said we have fruit trees in the yard, eat those. But I mean, now it's winter, so
Yeah.
there's no fruits, and she didn't really like spending the money on that. But at the same time, she would always buy things on sale, like the broccoli with the red stamp on and those things. And even then, you have to, even now, if I cook, you go shopping and you should cook what you just bought. All your veggies, you should cook them that day. Otherwise, they lose all their nutrition and then more things to think about and worry about. And is the money spent at Whole Foods worth it if I cook everything a week later?
Yeah.
So I just wish there was an easier way to
Maybe meal prep.
reaching that goal.
But I've tried meal prepping. Like second day in, I'm bored. I'm like, okay, I just had this yesterday. It's like I just think now in the day and age, like everything is so in your face of like what you should eat, what you should do, like blah blah blah, and it's honestly so exhausting.
Yep.
And even like going to the grocery store, I used to love, and like now it's so exhausting because there's so many options, and then it's like there's days where you just don't want to cook, and then it's what, like, am I gonna go to
Arashi ramen.
Yeah, like am I gonna DoorDash, or what am I gonna do, or am I just like not gonna eat? Like it's honestly so overwhelming.
Yeah. And the easiest for me in the past 3 years that I live with DJ, I moved here 3 years ago, 4 by now, but the past years we used to order those not prepackaged meals, but you get all the ingredients and a sheet with a recipe. I don't want to name drop anyone.
Yeah,
but
I know what you're saying.
know what
Yeah,
I mean.
They will be one of our sponsors, so go ahead.
Yeah, right.
No, I know what you're
But
talking
I
about,
enjoy that because you can pick out of a list of, let's say, 40 recipes and figure out, okay, high protein and vegetables, and then they make it taste good with seasonings and a certain flavor. So I found that to be a good solution, at least for lunch or dinner. But
Yeah.
then still, what do I do for breakfast? And now
Eggs.
I don't
but
like eggs.
if you go to work
Love eggs.
and you cook before and you have to clean it all up, it's just such a
It's a pain in the ass.
pain. So if anyone has an idea how to do life easier
Help
with
us.
cooking, because it takes off 3 hours out of your day
Yeah.
just for cooking and eating.
I think the solution for you is you guys hire a personal chef. They get here at
Honestly,
7 a.m.
Yes.
They make your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. And it's not that expensive, I don't think. So you should be okay.
anyone,
right.
anyone volunteer? I mean, DJ's sister is a personal chef basically for athletes.
That's
I
So
should
this is
probably
what I'll
talk to
do,
her.
Ozzy. That's really easy. I get a piece of Dave's killer bread,
Yeah.
put it in a toaster, take it out just after a little bit. Like, I don't let it go all the way till it's toasted, just so it softens it. And then in a pan, I'll put 2 eggs in there. I'll crack 2 eggs to basically fried eggs, salt, pepper in there. And then I'll take the piece of bread and I'll scoop them out and I'll just make a little egg sandwich on one piece of bread and let the yolk go into it. And it's a really great.
Gordon Ramsay up in here.
Yeah, but you're missing nutrition in there, right?
No, because I
bread
got
and
eggs.
Well, yeah, but
I got the
what about
protein
all
that
the
I want.
greens and
Well,
the
you
other?
can put green peppers in and onions and whatever else you want. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Do you guys
if
look
you
at
want
every
something
meal?
fast that you get a breakfast in, that's still good for you because you're getting some carbs in there that are good carbs. It's not enriched wheat flour. It's like it's better for you. That bread is with real oats and grains, and then your egg is your protein. That gets you to your lunch.
Oatmeal and peanut butter.
Or oatmeal and
Always
peanut.
good.
Oatmeal's great too.
Well, do you guys look at every single meal as like, okay, protein, fruit, veggie, carbs? Like, is
No.
that- yeah.
I don't.
I do.
Really?
Oh,
Do you
100%.
look? You know, like remember in like elementary school that like food
this-
pyramid or food plate thing?
Yeah.
Of the bullshit
Yeah,
pyramid.
And then
The
they
thing
said it
that's
was
not
all
true.
wrong.
Yeah.
That it's all wrong. Eat
Oh.
8 helpings of nuts every day.
Well, and drink milk. That's why I grew up in milk was the big
Yeah.
thing because
no one
it does
drinks
a
milk.
body good and
Yeah.
all of that sort of
yeah,
stuff.
my
Which
milk mustache.
none of that's true.
Yeah.
It's fatty.
Well, and it's full of different hormones, and now they
It's
what
so-
they dye it so it's not all pink. So they put blue dye in your
Yeah.
milk.
Here's food for thought. I think in school, maybe 6th grade or 7th, every kid should talk to a doctor. They should have their blood drawn. They
Yeah.
should figure out what they're allergic to, what foods, what makes them feel good, so they have a base of food and nutrition that works for them that they can be sent out.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to go
Into
to a
the world.
nutritionalist, though, not a doctor,
I'm
because
telling you,
doctors
they
don't
should do that
give
at,
you that.
at school. Everyone
Oh, like
should,
that should be available.
yes. I think because it's so important, especially
Yeah,
if
but
you
how are
look
you
at
going to pay
America.
for that?
Well, this is a one-time thing in a kid's life. I feel like some
still have to pay for
taxpayer-
it.
I know, but I just want to say that I think that would eliminate a lot of problems from health,
Yeah.
obesity, all of those things could be solved by someone who actually knows what does my body need, what makes me feel good,
Yeah.
what keeps me fit and healthy.
But that's if they want to choose to go forward with that. And most people don't, as
Well,
you can see through
even-
the entire
it's just like
country.
education about like healthy.
And even if
Lifestyle.
it's 10% of all the kids
Yeah, that's
making
better.
the best of it
Yeah.
and they don't turn out fat and sick, that helps.
So my sister and my brother-in-law, they got this panel done like a year or two ago, and it was from a nutritionist, and they took like your blood and whatever, all these different samples, and it gives you not just like food groups, but like literally specific foods like crab, eggs, turkey, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it has like a bar of like red is you're very like sensitive to it, like you might be allergic or whatever, like avoid it, and then green is you're totally fine, and yellow is like there's some issues with it, and so it gives you like that rating on all these different foods, so it's like, okay, yeah, you're not like allergic to
Tuna.
tuna, but your body responds negatively to it because of this, and this. And I just think like that I want to get done so bad. Like I think it would be so nice because there is certain things where I eat and I feel really tired after.
Where's
Or
this place at?
They got it done in Arizona, but I'm sure there's places out here, But yeah, like there's things where I don't feel sick, but I definitely feel like groggy or
Lethargic.
or sometimes like I have way more energy and it's like why, so I just think like that I really want to get done because I think that for me would be more important of like not don't eat this and eat this, but more of like specifically
to
where does it
yourself.
fall for you, because all of our bodies process everything so differently, like so
Do
yeah.
you guys have allergies?
no.
I
Any-
don't.
Nothing? Not even, well, Greg was sneezing
Well, I have
a whole
seasonal
bunch.
allergies, but that's it. I don't
That-
have any food
But that's
allergies.
from coming off 4 days of a cold that I'm ending right now.
Gotcha. DJ, allergies?
Yeah, lots of them.
Tell us
But
about
that
it.
was growing up. So I was allergic to citrus, wheat, a lot of nuts, and dairy, and maybe something else. But so basically, I remember this story where
Deer ticks.
yeah, right, yeah. Too soon, Greg. Too soon.
yeah.
You're
Um,
allergic to turmeric.
Well, now, yeah, I threw up like I had a hangover.
Oh, wow.
But I remember this story my mom told me of the neighbor lady who had those Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, the best.
She said they really are good,
They're so
especially with like whole milk. I could use some Frosted Flakes with some good thick milk right now. But
With a little layer of film on the
Well-
top of your milk.
yeah, right. But she called my mom and said, "You'd be so proud of me," because everyone knew my mom was the health nut. And she said, "I fed the boys a whole wheat peanut butter sandwich with like some orange slices and a glass of milk. I think it was something a lot like that. And my mom said, "Oh, that's wonderful." No, you have to take care of me
Yeah.
as my face swells up. But
You came home.
yeah.
You're like, something's happening.
Right.
What are you allergic to now?
Well, I figured out I'm allergic to turmeric.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it felt like a really bad hangover or food poisoning. It
Mhm.
felt like food poisoning. I mean, I just threw up.
We traveled to India and he was sick for 10 days straight.
I have a health thing also, that I think that they say we all grew up on plants more than meat in our ancestors.
Like humans?
Yes, that we were omnivores basically. But we are all given incisors as carnivores. So I think we are supposed to have just as much vegetables and dark greens as we do protein, meat, fish, chicken, turkey, beef, whatever your protein is, tofu, eggs, whatever it is. I don't know if from when I was a little boy till now, all my food has changed. So I don't know if I like your idea about the 6th grade, but guess what? I would have thrown up if I ate a tomato in 6th grade and put it in my mouth and chewed down on it,
Yeah.
where it might have said that's what I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
And now I love tomatoes, right? And my food palate changed over all the years. I would have never been caught eating raw maguro sushi tuna. Now I live for it. Like I can't wait to put just a fresh cut thing of sashimi with a little piece of ginger on it and throw it in my mouth.
Yeah.
But 30 years ago, no way would I have ever touched that. So we also change in what we want and what
Yeah.
we want to eat and what we put in our body, and that our taste buds say, "Ooh, I like this now."
But man, do I think that a lot of that also has to do with preparation, because I used to hate
You're right.
mushrooms.
You're
I
right.
hated mushrooms. And again, my mom would just cook it till it's like,
Mush.
A sauce.
She's making sure it was
Strawberry.
dead.
no, but I remember
No bugs.
the first time I made my own,
The mushroom died.
the first time I made my own beef stroganoff, and cut my mushrooms and put them in the sauce. And they were they still had a bite to it. And they were not out of a can. And they were not previously frozen. I was like, what am I eating?
Yeah.
This is not a mushroom. So it's just certain things you find out later. And it was a friend's mom who would make spaghetti bolognese and put canned mushrooms in it. And I was like, this is the most disgusting thing
Sounds
I've ever
gross.
eaten.
Yuck.
And not the sauce, but the mushroom. So I just wish the relationship with food would have started at a younger age, because I see now a child of our friends who is probably 10 or 11 who cooks for her parents like once a week. And I would have never done that.
Yeah.
I mean, no one told me to actually sit down and think about it and figure out what is protein, what is, how can I prepare vegetables? There's so many, even the beans, honey, what are those called? The longer, skinny
Green beans?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
just
green
green
beans.
beans.
Yeah.
Right? And I learned that through the cooking boxes. Just putting the green beans first saute them with some olive oil and then just put water in it and just have it steam for 5 minutes and then they're done.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, excuse me, that was way too easy. They taste way better than anything I've ever eaten before. So it could be so easy to
Yeah.
figure certain things out, and even how to cook something fast, because that was fast. Or even asparagus in the oven,
Mm-hmm.
just throw it in there, 30 minutes done. So I don't know. I think I had a little broken relationship with food in general, and I'm happy I figured that out more or less, but it's still annoying.
Can I mention something here that I'm finding in common? So I think it's that we're so removed from our food sources that we're always getting old food, so it's never the best version of itself. We had a little garden on the side of our house.
That'd be incredible.
And I remember eating carrots out of the ground, tomatoes and beans and peas and all of that stuff, right now off
Yeah,
of the
we did
bush.
too growing up.
And it was always amazing. And it was also very scarce. So it kind of felt more like dessert in a weird emotional way. But then it's the preparation follow up, right? But if you had that really fresh, close to the source, new food combined with great preparation, I think that any kid would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cooking in schools or something.
I used to have to make them, in order for them to eat veggies growing up, I had to really make it taste awesome. So, like, they love my Brussels sprouts, my asparagus, my broccoli. My son doesn't really like the broccoli. I think Jordan likes it more. Cauliflower, things like that, sugar snap peas, green beans, all of that. But if you don't have love in the food you're making, if you don't make it with love, it'll never taste great. It just won't. You can't just throw things into a pan, put some heat on it, and make it taste good. You got to nurture it. You got to season it. You got to find out what it needs in order to have flavor release out of it.
Balance it.
Yeah, like knowing.
Yeah. With the
Yes.
right fat, with the right acid, with the right amount
Yeah.
of
But see,
your-
I don't think my mom.
A lot of people don't
Doesn't-
care.
Yeah, but see,
I
my
know, and I
mom
care.
thinks she's a very good cook, and
She
she
wasn't.
And I mean, she
Sorry,
doesn't.
Mom,
I
if
guess
you're
she
listening.
doesn't. No, she doesn't love cooking. I
Yeah.
don't know why. She cooks, and then she has her 15 recipes that depending
she
on.
cycles.
Yeah, which that's all fine, and I wish she had just had a little more passion and would maybe understand a little
There's some
better
anger
how to.
here with this.
Man, my mom gets super angry when I tell her she isn't. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Now
She's-
you're telling the whole world.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry,
I love
mother.
her. Her apple.
Muti.
Her apple pie is the best thing you will ever eat.
That's insane.
But and everything all the unhealthy things are delicious. But it's the relationship to veggies and salads and that
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
I guess she just doesn't really know how to cook. And I mean, her mom is born in, I'm not sure, probably the 20s, 1920. She passed a few years ago. Yeah, about that time. And I mean, they didn't
They didn't
cook.
have food.
It was, I mean, they made food for soldiers.
Yeah.
Like they needed protein and carbs
Mm-hmm.
to be hardy, and it was cold in the winter. And
And they had to kill more Americans. So they fed them a lot of those carbs
oh no,
too soon.
too soon. But you know what I mean. It's just the whole relationship is different.
Yeah. Do you guys think that like food has an impact on like your
Yes.
mental well-being?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
What is like something that like is it a guilt thing? Is it a like for me when I like eat crappy for a while, like I just like don't want to move, obviously. So then that leads to like
Depression.
kind of like depressive like stuff and
You
then
feel bad if you ate a whole entire pizza yourself.
Well,
You
and then
do
there's like a
not
guilt
feel
thing
happy.
too. Like you're just like I know I shouldn't have done that. So there's a shame and then it's like
I
vicious
eat when I'm
cycle.
depressed. I eat bad stuff when I get depressed.
Are you a binge eater?
Sometimes if I'm depressed, I'll binge eat. But my thing is try to just when I know I'm getting in that rut and I go, popcorn sounds really good right now. Even though it's okay, like popcorn's not really bad for you. I don't put butter on my popcorn. I never have. If I go to a theater, I've never had butter on my popcorn ever. But I'll eat an entire thing of it while I'm watching something on TV or whatever. That's not good
Like you
because I'm not
finish your
paying
snacks.
attention to how much I'm consuming.
DJ is not good at that either.
You're like mindless eating.
No,
you
I-
just can't stop. You give him a bag of chips and they're gone.
Well, it's because I grew up in a household with nothing that I enjoyed eating. So I have some emotional issues around that. But it's compounded by, from stress. My stomach's always hurting. So when it's not hurting, I just am like,
Oh,
it's
I need to
on.
eat.
Of
It's
it?
on. I'm going
Yeah.
to eat. And I just keep eating and eating. And I,
Yeah.
You're just excited that you're not hurting.
Do you guys have
Yeah.
the guilt though after that?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, where you're just like,
Yeah,
should
why
not
did I
have
eat?
done
Why
that.
did I order the god dang medium blizzard instead of a mini?
I have good food control, and I'm not 100% sure why, but here is my trauma dump. I grew up where you had to finish your plate.
So did we.
I
But
didn't.
always,
Mm-hmm.
always. So now, thank God, I learned that smaller portions make me happier.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough, even if it's junk food or whatever, or a Blizzard, I always get a little one, or a milkshake. It's always the smallest version, and I never really finish it. So figuring that out is good. But back in the day, there wasn't even, Mom, I just want half of that. No, finish your plate. Even if it's the whole entire tower of whatever.
Yeah, but every time I order that Blizzard, I order it in a mini, but they show up in a big, large
yeah.
one.
Do you
Yeah.
finish? You finish your guys' stuff? See,
No.
I'm the same way.
I put it out.
I can
I put it
snack
away.
and then I can be done.
Yeah.
Like, but my boyfriend, like he won't let me buy certain things because he'll just eat the entire bag. And
DJ.
it's like, yeah.
But I get.
But I'm
where
like,
he's
dude, I'm
coming
like,
from.
I don't have the control issues. Like, you just stop. Like,
No, I literally have to eat part of it and then go put it in my freezer or in the fridge. Get it away from me because I will finish all of it.
Interesting.
Even when Jordan comes over and stays at the house sometimes and we'll order like a Blizzard treat, she'll put hers halfway down. And as soon as I see her do hers, I'll do mine too. And I go put ours both in the freezer.
he'll come over to my house though, and I shop at Trader Joe's sometimes, and he literally like scans my pantry because you don't buy it. You buy chips and that's it. Like you don't really buy.
Yeah, I don't buy any
He
junk
likes chips
food.
and salsa, but like he'll come over to my house and I just see him. He starts opening up the fridge because I have snacks.
Yeah.
Because I stop myself.
I'm grazing.
Yeah, and he just starts like grazing everything. But
They put me out to pasture.
no, it's so funny. Like, no, I do not have control issues.
I do.
I have frequency issues. Like, I want a sweet every single day.
Yeah, you got to stop that.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Kill the sugar.
Yeah.
You just have to.
No,
You
not
got to make
kill
it
the
3
sugar.
days without sugar. Try it. I
No.
did it before.
I think it's fine in
I mean,
moderation.
it went bad after that, but 3 days I did it, and I couldn't believe how quickly I felt better. I mean, no sugar, not even in fruit sugar. And how quickly I started losing weight, like immediately
See,
when
I
sugar
lose
was
weight
gone.
with eating a lot of protein. And
Yeah.
just not eating a lot of, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
the differences in body.
More
Like,
protein.
yeah, I eat more protein and I start to, like, cut
Do you eat a lot of
more.
protein, DJ?
I don't think so.
Chicken,
Chicken.
fish, eggs,
Steak.
beef, steaks.
Yeah, I eat a hard-boiled egg every morning.
Okay, well, that's protein.
That's a lot of protein.
Yeah, that's really good for you. And
That's
you,
vitamin
Asja,
D.
what about you?
I mean, when I cook, I usually I like a lot of fish. I make steaks every now and then. Chicken. When we did the cooking boxes, was
Mhm.
mostly chicken. So yeah, but yeah, everything in moderation.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just one thing, and not try to cut back on carbs. But again, those meals that they give you, then they have sauteed carrots. I think they're delicious, or the
Yeah.
beans. So I don't really need pasta or potato all the
Jordan's
time.
a big
oh,
pasta
yeah, I was going to
person.
say that's my weakness.
That's
I
her. She does
freaking
pasta everywhere.
But I do love pasta. But whenever I cook pasta at home, like I've been putting like, I got this like soup at Costco. It's like a Italian sausage soup, but I've been using that as my sauce, basically.
As your base.
No, just like as my pasta sauce. Like,
Oh,
I don't
that's
know.
cool.
Because it's just like less and it still tastes good. And I don't know. But I get creative with pasta. I always put vegetables in it. But
And
Yeah.
some Sour Patch Kids.
yeah, God, I love pasta.
Man, my problem in Germany would be bread.
Oh, I bet.
I would get all
Or
my
pommes
carbs
frites.
from bread. No, bread. But because we have those bread, it's kind of like a baguette, Jiminy. I can't
Yeah.
pronounce any words right now, but a baguette in dinner roll size. But it's crunchy on the outside, and then you have the fluffy dough on the
Yum.
inside. Man. And you just spread that up with anything, sausage and
You guys are making me hungry.
Yeah.
jam.
Me
and
too.
Yeah, I
whatnot.
wonder if the McChicken is available.
Yeah.
But
You know,
it's,
Uber Eats.
but it's good that I don't have that here. And then the other thing
Yeah.
is pop a little more. I used to drink pop in Germany. So now I trick myself getting these sparkling water with
Love 'em.
lemon and stuff in
Sparkling
it.
waters are awesome.
And it's the same feel because now your brain is kind of
Have you had
conditioned.
Poppy?
Huh?
Have you had Poppy?
I've tried it once.
Do you like it?
I like the Spindrift better.
Have you had Olipop?
Yeah.
Have you had cocaine?
Okay.
You guys are talking about poppy seeds and all kinds of stuff.
No, it's a drink.
Oh, okay.
They have poppy seed dinner rolls.
It's okay. He's Gen X. He
Nice.
doesn't get it.
Yeah,
He's old
I'm
as
still
shit.
learning all your slang terms.
Man. But let's get back to health a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you who got affected? I mean, obviously we heard DJ's story about Lyme disease. That's took a big chunk out of his life. Anyone ever was like seriously sick with like something chronic or
No.
Surgeries,
Yeah, surgeries.
gallbladder, appendicitis,
Same.
had those
So I,
removed.
growing up, still don't ever get flu shots or anything like that. And growing up, he always wanted us to like fight it ourselves, which helped. But now as I'm getting older, I get sick a lot, and I think I need to go figure that out. Like,
how old are you again?
23.
It's sleep.
It's a
I don't think it is, because it's like I get colds and I lose my voice. I think I need to get my tonsils removed. But
I had that for a while when I was your age. And now
did
I
you
feel
lose
like
your voice?
yeah, and I would have infections and I would cough
Really?
up all yellow and I would
Oh.
have bad infection. But I kept them as my dad's logic again. He's like, well, if you take those out, the next chronic disease will be something worse.
Yeah.
So cope with that. And it worked out. And probably past 25, I never had to deal with it ever again.
Okay, I'll tough it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were just really active, so I broke bones and got injured and whatever. But when I went to college in Montana, my first semester there, in 2018, I started having this like really bad like stomach pains. And then it got to the point where it was like so bad I was like going to the ER, and I went to the ER like 3 days in a row. They did not know what was going on, and they thought I had a drug problem, so they stopped giving me morphine because I was like there, I kept coming back. And so I wasn't getting any pain meds, and I was like in excruciating pain, like all keeled over, whatever. Figured out that my gallbladder needed to come out, and I like did not fit the bill at all. Like usually it's like women over 45 who are like overweight, like unhealthy, whatever. But then after doing like research, it's also hereditary. So like he got his out, and then I think other people in our family,
Grandpa,
yeah,
all
and
of them.
grandma, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I like did not fit the profile whatsoever. Another thing with healthcare. So then they assumed I was a drug addict at 18 years old. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Well, apparently it was at 13.
Right. Last week's episode. But yeah, so that was just like one thing with health that I found like super frustrating, because I felt like I was trying to advocate for myself and I wasn't being listened to. And because I was young or whatever it was. And like it was in Bozeman, Montana. Like there's not a huge drug problem there.
It's not
I do
Hollywood.
not look like I am a drug abuser.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So that was like really frustrating. But yeah, anyways, I didn't fit the bill at all. Ended up getting my gallbladder removed. And then 2 weeks later, same pain after I already got it removed. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I got like jaundice. So I turned yellow. So like my liver was failing. And then through multiple, I guess, like our family friend, we figured out that I had a gallstone that was left in my bile duct that was like blocking, so that it was like failing my liver because nothing was like cleaning.
Flushing.
Yeah. So then I had to like get an emergency surgery. But yeah.
Holy smokes.
And then I broke
out of
my
nowhere?
That was brutal.
Yeah, it was like only 2 or 3 weeks after I actually got it removed. So I was like, why am I having this pain again? This organ is not in me anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Same thing though. Multiple nights in the hospital. I'm laying on the ER waiting room floor, convulsing, completely yellow. And they're like, we don't know what's wrong with you. And it's just like, what the hell? Like, like my liver could have failed. Like, it could have been like really bad. Luckily, our like family friend is a, chief of surgery or whatever. He knew what was going on. But, I'm out in Montana. I'm in my first year of
you got to
school.
explain what that is. He's chief of staff and the president of a major hospital, and he found out what was wrong with her in Seattle looking at her lab reports.
Yeah.
And notified his best friend surgeon in Montana to do the surgery on her.
Yeah, and then they brought him out to Bozeman and then did the surgery. But it's just things like that where you're like,
If I didn't have that connection,
yeah, who knows?
who was going to take care of her?
Yeah, they could not figure it out. And it was just like, it was like I was a burden and like a nuisance. And I'm just like, I don't want to be here either. Like, you know, it was just super frustrating.
Well,
but yeah.
At least that's not just exclusive to America. I remember my dad telling
Mhm.
me he's probably, I don't know, I think from remembering probably like 19 or something, and his appendix burst without anyone knowing. So he had also pains in the middle of the night and kind of waited, and then it got worse. So they drove him to the hospital, and he was in the waiting room for 3 or 4 hours. And when they took him on, the surgeon told him like 5 minutes later, you would have been dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to
That happened to me with my gallbladder. Mine was gangrenous, so it ate itself away. And then I had a horrible, horrible infection. And they had to stick a tube all the way inside my body, all the way up in a drain bag on the outside of my stomach to drain all of the infection and blood and everything out. And I had that for like, 3 weeks on the outside of my body. And that was probably one of the worst painful things I've ever felt when they pulled it out.
Ew.
Do we have any advice for people who are listening though, what to do when there's something going on that you don't really
You need to fight
don't locate?
for your own truth and not settle for anything but what you know is happening in your body.
Yeah.
You fight to the doctors, to the staff, to everyone. You stand your ground because you know they don't.
Yeah.
It's that serious.
And it's as-
emergency rooms are just hard in
Yeah.
America. Like it's all just about, okay, are you dying or are you not dying? And then it's like, let's get you through.
But
you
it's
know?
as little as DJ. He got whatever fed one of his dogs back in the day a treat, and then the dog bit his fingernail and pinched a nerve. And you tell the story real quick because
Yeah, first of all, don't teach your dogs, don't throw treats to them because they learn to snap it out of the air. I didn't really think that far. He's such a calm, gentle dog, that wasn't the problem. But I threw it to him and he did that and he just barely bit on my fingernail and it literally looked just like it does now. And okay, I've had tib fib breaks, broken neck, back surgeries, all of that. This was the most painful thing by 3 times.
Jeez.
On your thumb?
Yep, just right there on my fingernail, just a quick little thing like that. And I went pale white and sweated, and I just blacked out onto the floor of my kitchen.
What?
Wait,
And-
why? Because it was just so painful?
Yes.
Oh my God.
What was it? What did he hit?
Just perfectly on whatever nerve. Maybe a doctor can tell us
well,
that one.
you know
please.
torture.
Hey, wait.
So-
Someone please
Yuck.
comment. What could that be that would make him pass out, turn white, and go to the ground?
Okay, well, have you guys ever gotten a splinter under your fingernail?
Yeah,
It's
but
probably
go
like-
ahead.
Oh, this is
Ugh.
way worse. But okay, so I go to the ER, of course, and I walk in, a lot like this, and I am just hurting. And so I'm sitting in the, you sit in the little room and they pull the curtain. So the doctor finally comes in after infinite amount of time.
Yeah.
And I just say, it hurts so bad. Make it go away. Give me some kind of painkiller or whatever. He thought, of course, maybe I was an addict or
Yeah.
something like this. And he said, well, I can go get a big needle and shove it under your fingernail. And I said, yes, please. And I threw him off because he was expecting to deter me, or something
Oh,
like
yeah, I
that. So
thought-
he went and did that. And it helped a lot. But I'm just saying they
I
thought
wonder
I
if the
was
nail
What, they
crazy.
just hit a nerve?
smashed into the nail bed,
Yeah, it was
and there's a nerve
Yeah.
there.
something right in the middle of my thumb. But he looked at me like I was an idiot, and he said, grab my hand. Let's see your thumb. I don't see anything. And I just said, I do not care. And the other thing I have to add to this is if you're going to the hospital and you're hurt, you need to overdo it by about
Yeah.
double. Through all of my injuries I've been through, I realized that I was trying to be so nice and calm and be a good patient, right? And that got me nothing but grief, no help, and tons of pain.
Completely agree.
So if you come in, you have, let's say,
Turn the drama on.
a broken finger. you fall to the ground
No,
when you
no.
walk in.
Hey, we're not trying to
No,
teach
no.
anyone to abuse.
No, but I
our
completely
Yeah.
traits.
agree because like they have things that obviously they have to rule out, and they have a system and whatever, and they have checklists. But I completely agree because if you are in excruciating pain, but you don't express that, they are going to leave you in your room for a couple hours while they deal with more serious things, And it's just like advocating for yourself and turning on the drama a little bit, like just,
Be reasonable, but
yeah,
yes,
but like
stand
be
your
a little
ground.
bit of exaggerate if you need to, like if you're not getting the attention that you're feeling that you need, like 100%.
Yeah, I usually sit behind the curtain when I'm in a room in emergency, and I just start screaming at the top of my lungs. Help me, someone!
Yeah, that'll get you.
And they do a code blue, and everyone starts running. I'm like,
Right.
thank you.
and then the
About
police
time.
come after that one. Yeah.
My elbow's been hurting for quite a while.
I hit my funny bone.
But yeah, I guess
Made
just,
this weird tingle up by my hands.
just
by my
to
fingers.
reiterate though, that's only when you actually are feeling that level of pain and they don't believe you.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a weird line there.
Yeah, why do they ask us on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your pain
Oh,
level?
that's
and
always
you go,
a trick.
You go
It is
10.
a trick. Well,
10.
but then it also, okay, let's say you have stomach pain, but then you're a 5, okay? And you say you're a 10. They're going to be like, do way more tests on you than you probably need. So it is a fine line because it's like,
Yeah, but I want them to do all the tests.
I don't. Hell no.
I want to know that everything's okay. It's like, okay, I'd like a CAT scan, an MRI, an X-ray, and then also take all my blood. Let's get to the bottom of this right now. Find out
You're
exactly
like,
what's
sir,
going
you
on.
have a headache?
Oh, man. Well, let's get back to a little more serious
Yeah, sorry.
topic. What do we have to say about mental health? I mean, that's kind of something you cannot see from the outside so much either, just like DJ's thumb.
Yeah.
But obviously, how do you even figure out you have mental health issues? But again, coming from Germany, everyone is so stubborn and it's okay. I still have all my limbs. I'm fine. No one really talks about trauma. No one really reflects in that direction. It's like, if it doesn't affect me right now, I mean, most of the time it does, but they don't know where it's coming from. What can we do there?
I think like just looking at generational differences with that, like my age group, my generation, like I find is so open about it, which I think is for the most part like a really good thing because I think it allows people to share their own experiences and relate and maybe like find through social media and stuff, like find areas where they can research kind of what they're going through. The con of that though is self-diagnosing, and I see it like so much on TikTok and all this stuff where people are like, I have this, I have this, I have this, and it's like I actually like have been diagnosed with depression, I've actually been diagnosed with anxiety, and I've actually been diagnosed with ADHD. And it's like it's super frustrating because for my ADHD I'm on Adderall, and Adderall is looked at as like, a quick fix and, it'll help you focus and blah, 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 blah. But like as someone with ADHD who like is prescribed it, like it just brings me up to a normal level. Like it doesn't make me go any farther than that. Like, I don't get jittery, I don't get crazy, but like I've still all the time, people are like, can I have one of your Adderall? Like I have to do something. I'm like, no, dude. Like, it's just, yeah, just like for my generation, like, I think that it's good we talk about it. All my friends were very, very open about like stuff we're dealing with. I've had suicide in my family, so that all growing up has always been not a scary thing to talk about. Like, it's always been very open, and like I've had suicidal thoughts, like. And I remember like talking to my therapist one time, and she was like, thinking of death is not a bad thing. Like everyone thinks about death and them dying and whatever, but it's the going one step further, being like it can't be fixed or that. And yeah, like I've gone through so much work to like be where I'm at, because I think also I'm just like wise for my age, but I remember being, I don't know, middle school or high school, and just being like very aware of traits of like my dad or traits of my mom or traits that I was starting to develop that I didn't want. And I was like, okay, like where I just wanted to know more. Like I wanted to know like where is this coming from? Why do I act like this? Like why do I get mad when this happens? Like all this stuff. And I just wanted to figure it out. And luckily like my dad is very like pro therapy, like pro self-help, so that was nice. But yeah, like it is just nice like to be around people my age that everyone is very open. Like, you know, people will be like, yeah, I'm really depressed right now. And it's like, okay, like that's okay. And it's almost like matter of fact, which I think is good. Like no one I know is very much like, oh my God, like
There isn't a stigma attached to it.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, like this is what I'm dealing with. Like I'm super anxious today. Like it is what it is, you know, and like it's just and I've had, you know, like friends call me or come over or me too, like and be like, I'm having a panic attack right now, you know, and it's like, hey, we sit and we breathe and it's like it's just I think that speaking from like my age group and my generation, like we have so many tools that are able to help each other. And I think like I'm super thankful for that. Like as so many people know breathing exercises and they know like tapping and or even just like a hug or even grabbing someone's arm, like the touch of someone else can completely like calm you down. And yeah, it's just we're a lot more knowledgeable because of social media, because of people's vulnerability, and because it's not really like a taboo thing anymore, which thank God. Like
That's great.
thank God it's not.
I wish therapy was a little more prevalent. Is that the right word?
Mhm.
In Germany? Because I think the first time I heard about someone doing therapy was my mom when she was dealing with her cancer. And then, I mean, my dad had cancer. He never went to therapy. And I think I did one therapy session. Like my mom did that for probably 2 years. And so in the middle, I guess they talked about me and, you know, I was a little stressful teenager and we were never best friends. I mean, now that I'm older, probably when I moved out, everything relaxed way more. Um, so I took one therapy session. I was like, that's not really whatever. The lady didn't really work out with me. But then marrying DJ and being in a relationship with him, he taught me a lot about therapy and even finding a therapist is not just the one person that's available. And I was like, oh, there's choices. There's people that may understand me or, you know, I can bond with a little better. So that was very, very interesting. So, yeah, just meeting DJ and deep diving more into that realm really opened my eyes because I can just talk from experience. Back in Germany, all my friends were my therapy group. So it was more, not really like an AA meeting, but it's like, so what's going on in your life right now? And they would talk about it, which I guess is the first step. But I mean, they would sometimes now, me thinking about the things they said, the trauma they had happened to them. I mean, I'm here to listen to them and it's good for them to tell me. But at the same time, I was like, holy shit. Now what? I can't help you through this. And I didn't know, maybe talk to a therapist about that. But it was just so much more German. It was like, well, I told you this happened to me. Now I'm fine. I was like,
It's
but
kinda cold.
that's here too. That's with everyone. That's our last generation also.
yeah, but that's us as
Like you got
teenagers.
your generation?
Oh, I'm talking so coming out of the Great Depression, what happened was with our great grandparents. So my grandparents who had my mom and dad in the 40s. So which means they were born in the teens, okay? Going through the Great Depression, this happened in this country. What happened was you either work or you die. Okay? There was no other option. You work or you die. Meaning you're going to do whatever you can to get food on our table or we're going to die during those times. Well, my parents, so Jordan's grandparents, they were brought up to not feel, that you're going to work and you're going to just do. We don't have time for feelings. Okay, that's right here too. Then our parents did that with us. And what happened was there was a shift from our generation to this Gen Z generation, where we then what's called helicopter parenting. Now everything's about, no, we need you to feel. We want you to get to there. We went to the extreme because we saw the detriment of us not being able to express our feelings led to me in anger, in not knowing how to channel that as a man. I need to be able to feel. I need to be able to say how I'm feeling so that I don't act badly. And our grandparents suffered the worst with not being able to feel anything. Could you imagine being a little kid and you're 5 and you're out shining shoes so you guys can eat that night? I mean, that was that for real. So when do you have time to feel? You're just surviving. So it's a huge, to have what we have now is like a blessing of all the suffering that our other generations went through to get to where we are now.
Well, it's like you're trying to heal past like generational
Yeah.
trauma and generational issues, and yeah.
And it's all part of our DNA. It's in us.
Yeah.
I do have to say that I can see a little problem with that, though, where, man, this may be a little extreme and radical, but even looking at racism and how current generations still suffer that trauma and don't, like, people can't let go. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very extreme not talking about it. Now it's very extreme talking about it, but I feel like at some point there needs to be I don't know, someone should decide, okay.
A healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
also, so
mean-
it doesn't just get more watered down and more soft, like softer. Like there should be like, okay, this is healthy. This is the way we talk to therapists, the conversation with our parents we have, and it's okay to feel and all that should be kind of like, okay, written in stone now. And let's not overcompensate anymore sort of situation, because I do see a trend where it's, I don't know.
I think it's just more in your face too. Like I think that just social media, like you just see everyone's opinions and like everyone's issues, and people are a lot more willing to share really personal things, on the internet. And like, but I don't think that any of these problems have just like come up. Like I think they've been around forever, like everyone has struggled with depression, everyone's struggled with anxiety forever. Like whether it's just in times where you need to be more in a survival mode rather than like feeling. Right now we're just in a safer place. Like we just are able to sit and we're able to feel more, and because we're not, we don't have a bear chasing us, or we don't have like a famine happening, it's just like we're able to sit with these things going on. And I think that, at least from my perspective, like being younger and like with you guys that are older, like I think there's a lot of like pushback of like, oh, you guys cry, you guys are soft, like blah blah blah, like not from you three, but like just in general. And I think it's not the case. I think that we just aren't in a place where we need to buck up, like we're not in a place where we have to be on high alert like constantly. And I think that's a good thing. Like I think that is us moving to like a more relaxed state of being, which I think is very important. Like
I guess I just have a little problem when it comes to the self-pity part.
yeah,
Because
I agree.
Me, for instance, I was born without my right hand, right? And that definitely shaped me in the way I don't know. Maybe I got bullied to a certain degree, but I also defended myself and, put people in place and said enough is enough.
It
But
got you tough.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but obviously with me, for instance, it could have gone both ways. I could have been, just self-destructive in the way of now I can't play guitar, or no, I
Yeah.
can't do this and I can't do that. But I focus more on the positive outcome instead of thinking about how unfair it is. And, certain things, it helped me see the unfair in life in general, and that everyone has their little package to carry. My sister needs glasses and she's literally blind when she wakes up without her glasses. And that's hard. I cannot imagine that. I'd rather only have one hand to be quite honest, because I guess these days you can have laser therapy, but also not everyone can have that. But getting back to, life is kind of unfair, and obviously everyone has the right to reflect and think a little bit, this is unfair and I can't do that. But it's important to always, would you say, Jordan, to also focus beyond that and be like, okay, this is how it is, but what can I make from that? How can I use this disadvantage maybe for my advantage? It made me very creative how to tie my shoes. People always ask me, say, how do you tie your shoes? I was like, well, I just tie them.
Yeah.
And then I had
That's not a good answer.
Well,
just figure it out.
Watch me. But I had one. This was hilarious, and this may make you laugh. And I guess we can almost come to the end of the episode. I was asked once if I can swim, and I was like, no, I swim in circles. So
Someone asked you that?
yeah,
That's good. That's a good answer.
yes. So
I'm
it's
like
just
Nemo.
you just.
That's hilarious,
It makes
actually.
you kind of witty in that sense.
Hell
you
yeah.
just deal with that and just
Yeah.
make the other one look stupid. I was like, you have all right to ask me that, but yeah.
But those are like
swim in circles.
those are like skills that, I agree with you about the self-pity and the pity parties and stuff like that. Like, even with a lot of my age group, especially on TikTok, like, you're just like, oh my God, like, shut up. Like, like, chill out. Like, I saw this video, and it was like, oh my God, the worst thing ever is, when you go to a restaurant and they like give you gluten when you ask for gluten-free, right? And then someone stitched the video and it's them in a wheelchair and they're just staring at the camera and they're just like, screw you, dude. Like, but it's just things like that where, like, I agree. Like, there is a lot of, because of everyone being able to be vulnerable and everyone, being able to talk more freely about these things, like, there does come with, like, the people who take it to the next extreme and
talk
are
about
super
it,
drama.
but check yourself.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
like be normal. Like,
Well, anyone else have?
did you guys
I
cry
think
growing up as men? Outwardly?
I've cried my whole life. My whole life has been sad.
Oh my God.
No, I cried. I've cried my whole life. I still cry to this day at TV commercials that are sad about a kid or something,
No, but
anything.
what
I cry.
So, like, growing up, like, let's say high school you weren't afraid to, like, cry.
No, I mean, I didn't cry in front of, like, people.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, no, never, hardly ever, never.
Yeah, never.
Never?
No. In fact, even getting hurt and breaking bones, I still didn't cry. You had to be tough.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we were taught to be tough. But here's the best part. I love that we have that part in us. And we have the other side as well. So I'm the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it is pretty balanced, right?
Yes. If you are only now just all about the feelings and feeling, but you don't have the backbone.
Yeah, you gotta have a backbone.
Because you haven't been through pain and anguish and things. You really don't understand the other side either. Whereas we grew up not being able to really feel, that was kind of shunned on, but we are tough. And now getting older is when I feel more now, and I allowed my kids to feel and let them go make sure they are feeling what's happening with them and not telling them buck up or toughen up. I never did that with them. It's like, hey, what's wrong, honey? Like, what's going on? Like with Jordan especially, I know when she needs to cry. I know it like in a millisecond that she's holding it back because she's tough. She is tough, but she also has to she has to remind herself to feel too and let it go.
I think it's also like a point of like you, like as I'm getting older and just dealing with, things on my own, it's like I let myself feel, but I know I have to move forward, And I think like that's a big thing is I think that feeling is really important, but it's not so much as feeling, it's like what you said, like what you do after that. Like how can you fix it? If you want to fix it, some people want to live in misery, but like if you want to fix it, how do you fix it? Or just like what's the next step, And it's, I think that's like a lot of, I don't know, people like pity, people like
Well, it's okay because
to be
feelings come and
miserable.
go, right?
Yeah.
Feelings come and go. So you allow the feeling to be there, no matter what it is. Identify where it's coming from. Why am I feeling this way? Oh, it's from this or this or this. Allow yourself to work through that. And then, like Jordan's saying, then move forward again. Because the feeling will come and the feeling will go.
Yeah.
And it's the times that you have to learn that when you are feeling a certain way, that you don't ignore it. That's the key, is identify, process it, feel it, and flush it back out again.
Yeah, and usually it's not just random,
No.
It's
So-
never.
right?
No.
But
Unless it's
many-
like hormonal or something. That's
Well,
when
women
my
are
even
probably
that's not
different than
random.
us.
True. I mean, it's
right?
hormonal.
You can look at your schedule,
Yeah.
it's the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just be aware, self-aware.
Half the
and-
time is me just needing sleep.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, DJ? Wrap us up.
Well, I've been listening to you guys talk about this, and I agree with a lot of what I've heard, and I understand it. But I've always, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but hey, we're here.
Dude, just be real.
Yeah, just
Okay.
go for it.
I genuinely know in my heart, at least from my own point of view, see, I'm already backpedaling, that I have been through things across the spectrum of just absolute horror. Just things I never should have seen, things I never should have gone through. And in so many ways. I mean, I already told you about Lyme disease,
Yeah.
being a kid and all
Yeah.
of that. And I mean, we can move into, I've watched some friends die in front of me, tried to save their life a few times, but they didn't make it. And so I have some PTSD going on there. And then through injuries, I couldn't walk for a year and I didn't think I'd ever be able to. And through that, I got super addicted to what is now called fentanyl. I guess it
Whoa.
always was, but I was on these patches for my different, back surgeries, everything that are for dying cancer patient levels. They always told me that. And I still was able to just stop. And I had to get off that addiction 3 times, all due to injuries, right? And prolonged taking this. And I could just kind of keep going with this. But it's not the me show.
But real quick, do you think addiction is the same as a feeling? I mean, would addiction be in the same category as happy, sad, and those things? It's kind of
No, because so after, I think it was the second time I got off of, pain meds, I remember actually it was my childhood neighborhood bully came to me at that was probably my 30th birthday party actually. And someone else invited him. But the point is he came because he was asking me, how do I get off of these? Because he had gone into like UFC style,
Yeah.
MMA fighting down in Vegas. And he had so many injuries from that. And he just said, DJ, help me. If I don't get off of these, I'm going to die. I told him how to do it. And just for everyone out there, you have to split your brain into 2 pieces. And you have to understand that one of them is always going to trick you in the most clever ways to come back to the drug. And you have to get so angry at that it's like you're fighting your bully in your own head. But then you have to deal with all the physical repercussions. I remember lying on the floor, crying, vomiting, headaches, sweat, every symptom you can imagine. That'll only last for about 6 days.
For
I'll
the
say.
withdrawals, I went through it with Dexedrine. Same thing.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And then there's the long term. I've been off it so long. Oh, I'm good. I'll just have a little of this sort of thing. So I guess what I'm getting at is going through all these different things in every kind of direction it really teaches you and your own thoughts. It really keeps your emotions in check, where if I feel anger coming up, I just kind of grab it out of my head and I hold it at a distance and say, I wonder where you came from, little guy. And then I'll put it aside and I can think about it. I don't just react on my feelings immediately, right? And I think that's kind of a lost art these days, where if someone's feeling something, they just kind of project it now and then deal with all the repercussions later. But
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
It's
A whole lot of trauma.
It's a good way of thinking, though. I just listened to another podcast the other day, and it was about exercise and how to stick to certain things, like whatever, the ice bath, like pull-up plunge and all those things. And is Joe Rogan, but he says you always have two voices in your head, right? You have the naughty voice that says, oh, don't get in there. It's freaking cold. What are you doing? But he also says that you have to have a boss. And the boss has always have to be louder. And the boss is like, no, you're going to get in there because it's healthy for you. These are all the benefits. Get your ass in the freaking pull-up plunge now. And as long as the boss, and that's the same one with drugs and whatnot, as long as the boss is the reason, right? The sound of reason, and says, don't do the stupid thing, do the good thing. I think that's kind of the trick to it.
It's a parent-child relationship.
Yeah, except, and you're right. What I learned in therapy was you put the kid back in the back seat and you drive the car again as the adult. The problem is you have to be able to have the little kid sit on your lap and work through that kid's feelings before you can throw him in the back seat again. So if you're not able to process through those feelings, they'll still be there. You haven't healed or helped anything.
Yeah, you can't just bury them.
No.
Yeah, that's why you need to hold them and look at them and think about it, carry it around, and then say, no, I'm just going to set that here. I'm good. I don't really want that.
No, that's the way I look at it too. Is definitely like, I let myself feel, but I don't let myself be like overconsumed, and I think that's when like public freak, like we talked about that a couple weeks ago, like public freakouts and all that stuff and meltdowns and whatever. But I think looking at it as like this is what I'm feeling, what triggered that, what like may have happened to get there, like analyzing it, and just analyzing feelings, I think is really important. But to be able to do that, you have to have knowledge of you, and you have to have knowledge of emotions, and not everyone has that, and it's really difficult. And it's you can't, if a car cuts me off or something and I get really mad that I cry, it's not about the car. Something else is going on there, but a lot of people like are going to take that as surface value and just be like, oh, I'm just pissed, because a car cut me off. But it's like, unless you learn those skills, whether by yourself or therapy or whatever, like
healthy peer group.
Yeah. Like you're in the dark a lot, and that can be super scary. And I think that's why, bad things happen. But
it's kind of like living in a vacuum. If your parents always do that thing, they always yell at the driver who cuts you off. You think that's what you do, and you think that's right. So it's so important to have a healthy peer group. And if that's your therapist or your friends or strangers, talk to a lot of strangers, that really puts things in perspective. So
yeah, I just used to pull up, just start shooting when they'd cut me off.
That's a joke, police.
Yeah, he's kidding.
Oh man. Okay. Well, guys, any
This is
other?
great, Asja. Good job.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you. I learned a lot and I felt good. It was a good session.
Yeah, and I think here's an interesting thing. Everyone out there, we are all getting to know each other in real time. It's not like we've rehearsed any of this. No, this is just us.
This is raw.
Just full send, going for it, hammer down.
Yeah. Do you notice we don't have any notes, subject matter? This is all purely from the heart and our own knowledge of each of these generations.
Yeah.
So you're all up for the ride.
You guys are in for a real treat.
Yes. Well,
Public embarrassment at the highest level. I'm in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
No, and we do want suggestions on topics that would help you. Please feel free to write in. We'll give you our email.
You guys have any suggestions about topics, anything you'd like to hear us all chat about, and
Or
you
more
know,
deep dive on certain things
Yeah.
we touched on.
using our own life experience and all that, just leave it in the comments, and yeah, we'll look at them.
Awesome. Well, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you in a week from now.
Have a great day.
till next time.
Gen-XYZ.
No topics out of bounds, 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.